Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Du'as of afiya and barakah for everyone. Alhamdulillah, we are in the days of the Hajj. Bi'idhnillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to make benefit during these blessed 10 days. Ameen, sum ameen. Inshallah ta'ala, today our topic is about highly sensitive children. Okay, so why did I choose this? Last week our topic was about PTSD, and while studying about parenting and studying about different styles of parenting and studying about how children act and interact, it just made sense that if we would talk about highly sensitive children, because as we know, this idea is growing rapidly that children have ADD, ADHD, they're highly sensitive, they have sensory processing issues, they this and that, they might be slightly on the autism spectrum, they might be highly functioning autistic, etc., etc. So a lot of stuff is just thrown around, and because all of this knowledge is becoming very common, people are becoming very aware. The thing is, we just throw around certain terms which sometimes might be detrimental in understanding your own child better, or in delaying the correct diagnosis. So, okay, so what is a highly sensitive child? Actually, there are highly sensitive adults too. So, highly sensitive children are basically those who are more reactive or responsive to their environments. They may be more significantly impacted by their surroundings than others. And highly sensitive is not technically a clinical diagnosis, but some people highly sensitive have other conditions like I said, autism or post-traumatic stress disorder, or the heightened sensitivity to their environments. One of the books that I recommend if you want to study more about highly sensitive children, or just understand this issue of sensitivity, it's called Dandelions, Tulips, and Orchids. And that book actually talks about three kinds of children, right? It talks about, so dandelions, they are more resilient. They represent majority of the children who are less affected by their surroundings. Orchids, on the other hand, these children are highly sensitive and can either flourish beautifully in supportive environments or struggle significantly in adverse conditions, and their well being is heavily influenced by their surroundings and care. And tulips, these children fall between the dandelions and orchids, having moderate sensitivity. They are more affected by their environment than dandelions, but are not as sensitive as orchids. And I honestly believe nowadays children are more of tulips, not because parents are coddling them. I'm not going to take this topic to that direction, but we need to understand that there is so much of overload of stimuli all the time around us that it is not far-fetched. The idea is not far-fetched that a majority of our children are now are tulips, like they're moderately sensitive to their environment. So how common are highly sensitive children? Research says that almost one third of children are believed to fall into the high sensitivity category. While they may face some challenges, there are also advantages. So let's find out the traits. First, let's find out the traits of highly sensitive children. They have a depth of processing, right? They're deep thinkers. They're more observant. They can observe a slight change in the arrangement of toys, or in the lightings, or in the settings. They get easily stimulated, right? They display tantrums, irritable. They become more irritable. They have fatigue. Their internal and external environments um, causes them to react more. And when I was reading about the highly sensitive children, I was like, okay, so how do you differentiate between a highly sensitive child and a child that's having a meltdown only? And the idea is that the child that's highly sensitive, they are consistent. They're consistent in letting us know that, okay, this bothers them, these noises bother them, or the overstimulation bothers them. It's a consistency in their behavior. Whereas a child who's just having a temporary overwhelm, well, it can be triggered by fatigue, hunger, or not getting what they want. And as soon as they get what they want, they're fine, they're soothed, right? Physical emotional outbursts of A highly sensitive child are more intense. With just a child having just a regular meltdown, they don't often like cry, or it's not frequent. It's only in times when they're really tired. And the highly sensitive child has the inability to calm down quicker as compared to a child that's only having a meltdown, right? So the context and triggers, like for example, highly sensitive children may become overwhelmed in environments with a lot of sensory input, whereas meltdowns might be triggered by the immediate frustration. The duration and recovery is different in both kinds, right? The meltdowns tends to be shorter and resolves once the triggered issue is addressed. Again, like I said, the pattern, the overall behavior. A child having a meltdown might generally be less reactive, but becomes temporarily overwhelmed by specific situations, whereas a highly sensitive child may exhibit signs of sensitivity across different contexts. So I just wanted to very early on during this live make sure that we understand that not every child is highly sensitive, and not every meltdown means that, oh, they're highly sensitive. You should, as a parent, we should as parents know the different, how to make a differentiation. So coming back to the highly sensitive child, they have a depth of processing, they are easily overstimulated, they're emotionally reactive and high, and they have high levels of empathy too. They feel more. When you say they feel more, that means they feel more empathy, they feel more compassion, they feel more love, they give more love, right? They tend to be closely tuned into how others are feeling, and they often pick up on their parents' moods as well. Their awareness to certain stimuli, right? For example, children may notice smells, sounds, and other changes in their environment before others do. Finding clothing itchy or uncomfortable. One of the good, like very, let's say, standout signs of a highly sensitive child is that they're bothered by fabrics that are scratchy or too tight and may find uncomfortable clothing too distracting. When a person is mildly sensitive to these things, that then they're like tulips, like I said in the very beginning. Not necessarily your child is an orchid, but they might be tulips. They're highly sensitive to certain things, and they can be adaptive to other things if they're not like dandelions, very resilient. Being easily startled by noise, loud, unexpected noises can easily startle a sensitive child. And they usually put their hands over their ears, they get bothered by that, etc., etc. Feeling overwhelmed by surprises. They're not for surprises. These people, adults and children, they're for routines. It's not that they do not understand your sentiment, like we said earlier on. They're very empathetic, they're very compassionate, but their system, their processing system, does not like surprises. It startles them, it overwhelms them. So they want to know what's happening before time. They have an advanced vocabulary for their age because they're deep thinkers. They like reading more, they like quiet spaces more, they like to do the activities that encourage them to have this interconnectedness, right? They pick up on others' emotions. They do ask a lot of questions because now they're curious too. They want a deeper understanding of how the things are working. They're sensitive to pain or discomfort, more sensitive than the regular dandelion or tulip children, right? Like really more when, I mean, as a parent, we all can understand what more might look like. But again, sometimes the parents are highly sensitive and they've not been given the emotional support in their environment. So I don't know if you have a sensitive child or if you live around people who are highly sensitive. How do you cope with them, or um, how do you console them? Basically, they need some more time as compared to other people. Questioning the safety of something before taking action. A sensitive child, they're cautious. They like to evaluate the safety of something before taking actions because of their mature cognitive skills. They naturally want to mitigate risk after considering all the possible outcomes. So somebody who is not highly sensitive, who is just a regular dandelion, who is resilient, who can take in challenges easier than the highly sensitive child, they might say, oh, they might say to a highly sensitive person, oh, you're such a party pooper, or why do you have to think so much, just do it, just do it. You need to understand sometimes people, because of their temperament, because of their nature, because of being highly sensitive, they just don't, they're not built like that just do it kind of attitude. They need to understand, realize the risks, evaluate them, calculate them. Eventually they will do something that they want to do, but they cannot be rushed into things. And as parents who have 3, 4, 5 children, and one of your kids is like highly sensitive, or you are getting embarrassed because the line behind the child to jump into the pool or whatever activity it is, it's taking more time. um yeah, we have to build that resilience muscle. If we're dealing with highly sensitive children, that it's okay, our child needs more time and our child needs that environment, and it's okay, we're going to support them. Preferring to play quietly alone than rather than in groups, that's also another marker. They may be uncannily self-aware. Now what does that mean? They are very insightful and self-aware of their age as they experience deep thoughts and emotions beyond their years. They can be more rigid and inflexible, of course. I just said that because of the sensory overload, they might seem like they're very inflexible because they're not going to do, or they're not going to easily give in to what others want them to do, because it's just not their system. That's not how they process things. So what do the highly sensitive children need from us? What is it that they need from their parents? Number one, it is okay to feel. Name any emotion. And the phrases like don't cry, calm down, this will be over. It's not it's not something that they will understand. It will be as if they're being rejected. So you can actually say, you seem, or I see that you are sad, or you feel, or are you feeling something? Can you name your feeling? Are you okay? And just by saying are you okay also opens a door of them relying on you. Another phrase that they need to hear a lot is take your time. Well, it is frustrating, and it's putting pressure on the children to do things faster. If we just do not allow them to take their time, we need to understand this. If you've ever seen children with special needs, any kind, whether it's genetic condition or whether they're on the what is it called, spectrum, whatever it is, even with everyday dandelion children's, right? um, we need to give our children time. We are just in a rush, 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 rush. It causes anxiety in a normal person, let alone a highly sensitive person, adult or a child. So you need to know that, you need to understand that it's okay to take time. So arrange your activity or whatever you need to do beforehand in a way that you've explained it, because they need that time to process. You cannot, in these situations, you cannot just jump up and say, oh, let's do this, oh, let's do that. It's not going to work with them. So you need to make a plan, you need to let them know. So number three would be, let's make a plan. For example, they might want to bring a book or noise canceling headphones, or agree to step outside and get fresh air. You may even come up with a code word that your child can say to you if they think that they need a break. Having a plan can help you both feel prepared and increase the chances of having a positive experience. This is, for example, Eid is coming up right now, and if you know there's a highly sensitive, so instead of the whole family being stuck in the house or not going to the relatives, or one parent sacrificing and saying I'll stay with this, we need to understand how to make our family system work. And sometimes it's completely okay to not go, it's completely okay, but sometimes you do want to go, you do want to be included, you do not want to um, be left behind. So find ways where everybody can be respectful and engaged and present in these moments. Again, letting your child know that you're there for them. And uh how to parent a highly sensitive child? Number one is accept and believe them. Really accept and believe. Now, I over and over again, I keep asking myself this question, and there are people who, their parents who are concerned. How do I know this is what my child is, and this is not what my child is? And I always say, do not label, but be curious enough. Find the markers. Do enough reading. Understand the behavior. It's like being Sherlock Holmes. Honestly, it's like being Sherlock Holmes, like finding the patterns to the things that they do to understand earlier on what's happening with your child. And one of the most important things that you need to do, another, is that you manage your own expectations of what they can handle. For example, if something happens, there's a loud noise, or you take them, or you're very excited to take them to, let's say, a theme park, and the whole family has been saving and etc etc to go to a theme park, and you have a younger child. If you have a younger child, you absolutely know that they're going to get overstimulated and they're going to cry. So what is your expectation? You want to go, okay, what are the things that you did in advance to understand that when they will get overstimulated, these are my exit points. This is how we're going to handle the rest of the family and this child specifically. When they're older, when they're teenagers, like noise cancellation, headphones, or some other activity, or specifically sit with them and ask them what are the places that they want to visit, etc., etc. Do your best to withhold criticism and adjust your expectation based on their unique needs, right? Offering them some predictability. I think with the highly sensitive adults as well as children, the predictability is the best solution, is to let them know that this might happen, this is happening, this is what we can do, this is what we cannot do, and having that conversation. It's basically collaborative parenting, even in children who are resilient, children who might be going through meltdown, who are not highly sensitive. Even with that, even with adults, that is how you basically are able to have a more peaceful, more calm continuation of whatever activity, of a family activity that is that you've decided with them. When you collaborate with them, give your child time to unwind. Who does not need unwinding time? Honestly, who? Like, for some hours of sleep, some hours of quiet, some hours of just good food, just a nurturing home environment. Everybody's not even talking to each other. So I'm like, okay, fine, we understand that we live in the Asian time where not everybody will be talking to each other, even if they're on their gadgets, even if they're watching something, even if they're reading something, even if they're just lying down next to you, doing nothing, absolutely nothing, or playing with their toys. That is the unwinding time. And it's the quiet time, just the togetherness, knowing that we are together in the space and we are safe and we are loved and we are accepted for as we are and who we are. You maintain consistency. Again, an important thing. It cannot be sunshine one day, cold showers the other. It can't be. So you have to have a consistent behavior. And usually, what kind of parenting has a consistent behavior? The authoritative parenting. The authoritative parenting where you listen to the child, you connect with the child, but you have boundaries with the child. The child already knows what you expect of them. You reiterate the expectation if it is something that needs to be done, but they have routines, they have boundaries, they understand the rules, and they know the consequences as well, right? So avoid harsh discipline. Again, for example, if your toddler throws a toy and you can remove the child from the situation, place them in the safe area and say, we do not throw toys. This toy is going in a timeout until after dinner. Now, if you do say that, what happens is it sends a message to your child's behavior is unacceptable. And I don't know. For example, I really don't believe in uh, in telling the child that, oh, you're a bad kid. I believe in saying, okay, this is not acceptable. If this is not acceptable, then the natural consequences will be that we're going to think about it. We can do something else. For now, just leave this activity and let it rest, and we will come back to it again. Of course, the child is going to have a tantrum, but then again, you know how to maneuver around your child's mood. You know how to do it. Usually, parents get frustrated and give in way before they really don't. They underestimate their own power over the child, or sometimes they overestimate it. But being very clear in your conversation before the toy is given to the child, while the child is playing with the toy, be observant of how they're playing with it. And if you think that now they're throwing it or roughing around with other kids, you understand that, oh, something is not okay, so you remove the child from the situation or remove the toy from the situation and give them some time to just process or calm down, or remind them of the boundary that you've set with them. Do not label your child. Resist the urge to label your child. When your child hears a label placed on them, they may internalize this and experience negative feelings like guilt and shame. And instead, give yourself time to manage your frustration and describe on focusing the behavior instead of labeling their personality. For example, you can say, they hurt my feelings when you that hurt my feelings when you said that, instead of saying you're so mean. Now create a safe space for your child. Educate and collaborate with your teachers, babysitters, coaches, etc. Find out what their anxiety triggers are. um, I'm not saying that we can remove all everything that causes them to become overwhelmed, but at least knowing the tools, working with therapists, coaches, teachers, etc., helps us create an environment that is supportive of that child's needs. Help them to learn and accept their temperament. The child needs to know what's happening with them, what kind of temperament they have, what kind of things they like. We need to not just keep advocating for our child, but give them the wordings, the understanding, so that they can also advocate. For example, a highly sensitive teen might say, you know what, my processing is like this. I'm Instead of saying I'm unable to handle a lot of stimulation, which the other teen who is a dandelion or who's more resilient, or who is mildly sensitive to situation, they might create empathy. Like you might say, I really get overwhelmed very quickly, so let's just go in for a few minutes, and then if you need to stay, you can let me know, and I can just come outside and wait for you, and when you're done, or we'll go back. Right now, again, this creates a sense of confidence in the highly sensitive person, and also creates the connection with the other people that they're around, and both of them can take care of each other. This is in terms of the teens, in terms of the young adults, so that they know how to place their need, instead of feeling shamed and guilty and trying to adjust and then just having a super migraine, etc. Help them to create supportive friend network. Again, how do you help them? You encourage them to be good friends with themselves, learning to look out for others' needs and be kind. Know that though some highly sensitive children might struggle to make friends, slowly building a supportive network of friends over time will help your child gain confidence and find support. This is always tricky. I do not know how far this can go. Like, help your children build a friend network. As a parent, I still have to. I am realizing now that, wow, friendship, especially in teen years and in young adult years, is really, really tricky, because now you are not taking your kids to playdates. You're not handpicking their friends for them. You're not handpicking families for them. They are making their own decisions. And some friends that they make, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all our children from that kinds of friendships. It is difficult. It is difficult. Let me just be very honest. It sounds very good on paper and very good when you read that help them build, create friends. How do you do that? You have to allow them to be able to choose for themselves, and they will bear the consequences of that. But when your child is from home, when they have a solid ground, when they know that they are loved, I'm not saying that they will not get hurt, or they will not develop anxieties, or they will not be rejected, or they will not feel, you know, the things that young adults feel. It's not that they're not going to go through the process. They are, but they will get out of it quicker. They will get out of it quicker. They will be able to realize, okay, this person was not good for me. Okay, fine, the next time these are the markers that I need to be careful about. They will make those educated choices better. That's the reality of it. And of course, keeping yourself calm. Raising a highly sensitive child can both be rewarding and challenging, and these children may benefit more from support in certain areas. As a parent, you may benefit from extra self care. More importantly, arm yourself with knowledge on how to raise a highly sensitive child. Awareness of understanding will equip you better. So, I hope, inshallah ta'ala, we are more aware of how to take care of ourselves if we are highly sensitive. We are aware of to take care of our children if they're highly sensitive. It's not easy, because I come across parents who say that I understand that my child is highly sensitive, they're 4 or they're 5, but their grandparents or their uncles or aunts or people around them, they don't. And when they are so intensely triggered, everybody thinks that something is wrong with my child. My child is so loving, so caring. The normal In an everyday routine, my child is so loving, so caring, but when they are going through an emotion, they're so intense that people around them, they get what is it called, they get triggered or they feel uncomfortable. We have to understand this, that it's okay that people feel uncomfortable. You need to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this child. We understand the needs of this child and we are working. Is it exhausting? Absolutely. Does it sometimes feel like, oh my God, like everybody has dandelion children, the resilient children, or tulip children. Tulip children are also fun. Like they sometimes there are good days and sometimes there are bad days. But with the orchid child, a highly sensitive child, you really have to have a certain type of a lifestyle. And so we need to understand those things and we need to be okay with it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our parenting journeys. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our children with best of health and iman. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us, the parents, the adults around these children, with best of iman, best of taqwa, best of tawakkul. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the wisdom to deal with our children in the best possible kind manner. Ameen sum ameen. Inshallah ta'ala, bi'iznillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to stand before Him on the day of Arafah, to fast, to make du'as. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our du'as. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on all the Hujjaj who are there for their Hajj and accept it. Ameen sum ameen. Uh, the next time we talk, I believe it will be after Eid. So, in advance, Eid Mubarak to everybody. Take care, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khair once again.